I do not own any PC handheld. I don't actually own any form of PC at all. I haven't even used one, despite many of my friends having Steam Decks, ROG Allys, and so on. So when wondering which one would be the best to buy, like you, the viewer, I only have external information to work from. So today, I want to go over the options together, as customers looking to buy one, and try to answer the question of, which PC handheld should you buy in 2024? It is probably wise to start with the big guns here. So let's talk about Valve's Steam Deck. This was the first big mainstream PC handheld. It's made by the company that offers the premier PC storefront. They have the biggest range of games available, so they understand the vast variances that can be found and could therefore design a platform to be as universally compatible as possible. Now it is far from perfect. The Steam Deck runs on a Linux base, which Google's Stadia showed wasn't easy to get games running on, especially those designed for x86 architecture, which is most of them. Compatibility, while growing, is extremely limited for the 100,000 plus games available on Steam. But it can be bought fairly cheaply. The base model is £349, but that has only 256GB of memory in it. With God of War Ragnarok arriving at 190GB on PC and Call of Duty at 250GB, this means that base model can only hold a single game. To get the same storage as one of the 9th generation home consoles, you need to pay £569. That top model does have additional benefits, such as the OLED screen for higher contrast, which makes games look far better, a bigger battery and better Wi-Fi tech, allowing faster speeds and more stable online connections for longer. But how does the Steam Deck look to me, a potential paying customer? Now, I like the ease of use here. Much like the home consoles from Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, it appears to be an intuitive and simple system to use. While there is that game compatibility concern, accessing the store directly through the deck seemingly only displays titles that are compatible with the deck. So if it's there and you want to play, buy and download. If it isn't there, you can't play it on the deck. Simple as. The lack of physical media, for a gamer such as myself, is a huge turn-off. PC games, however, haven't had physical releases for many years at this point, and the players there seem used to being ripped off when games shut down and are suddenly unplayable. So this is an area that I will have to make peace with for any of these devices, despite my personal hatred of the practice. The size of the device does seem a tad unwieldy. In my possession for comparison, I have the Switch and the PlayStation Portal, and it is a behemoth in comparison. It's wider, taller, heavier. In every important handheld size metric, it is bigger than either of these devices, and in the Portal's case, far less ergonomic too. When looking for size comparisons, the Steam Deck seems to be nearly the biggest available, with competitors that we'll look at shortly being a more manageable size, minus one option. I do appreciate the ergonomic thought of the design, however, with actual grips for hands rather than the flat slab of the Switch, and the additional input buttons on the back like a Pro controller definitely entice me. I really appreciate the after-purchase support for the deck that Valve has done as well. Many more games have become fully deck certified. Others are labelled as working, meaning the available titles are constantly growing. Firmware updates have improved the user interface and experience, as well as efficiency of the device overall too. It is also semi-upgradable in terms of storage, fans and so on, with aftermarket pieces and a bit of tinkering to improve your individual experience. Being able to dock the device in much the same manner as the Switch and play on a far bigger screen is amazing. Having the ability to plug in a mouse and keyboard will also make multiplayer games with other PC players much fairer too. I'm not a fan of the cost though, with what I get for it. The way that I play games, I will want multiple installed at once, and therefore I'm likely looking at the 1TB model. As much as I appreciate the LCD screens on my Switch and Portal, I will always prefer OLED like on my phone, tablet and TV. So the base model was never really an option for me. At this point, I'm over the price of any of the current home consoles for a handheld device with the same and even greater limitations. The deck, even docked, isn't going to hit the frame rates or resolutions of those consoles. It has library limitations, the same as them too, and far worse handheld longevity than the Switch. But that limited library is different than that on the home consoles, meaning unique experiences I couldn't have otherwise. While the device is expensive, Steam sales often mean picking up the games far cheaper than the home console equivalent over time, balancing the cost. And it comes with a hard protective carry and storage case as standard, meaning it's protected wherever you take it. Personally, I feel like the pros do outweigh the cons for the Steam Deck, meaning it'd be happier than I am frustrated if I purchased it. But the Steam Deck isn't the only available option here. There are now many handheld PCs. Too many if you take every model of Aya Neo, GPD or Iron & Co into account. So let's move on and look at an alternative option in the Asus ROG Ally. Unlike the Steam Deck, the Ally does not run a custom operating system. Instead, the Ally runs a full version of Windows 11 Home. This means the Ally comes with all the same pros and cons as a Windows desktop or laptop. For some, this means it's an automatic default choice. For others, it is an instant sign to steer clear. For me, someone without any form of home computer, I need to weigh it up. A big bonus that Windows offers over SteamOS is other PC storefronts. The Steam Deck only allows Steam games to be played unless you start messing and install Windows after purchase, which isn't an easy thing for the average consumer. Out of the box, the Ally allows that full PC games compatibility experience with no messing. Epic is one of the big alternatives to Steam, and they have regular free games. As I am writing this line, I have just claimed Signy from Epic for free. This is a brand new release at the time of writing, and I picked it up for free. The Ally will allow me to play that game that I have just claimed without any modification of the device. If you then look at this list, these are the free games that I have remembered to claim from Epic since 2020. There aren't loads because I don't have a PC and don't often remember to claim the titles. But if I were to buy the Ally, it'd be a much more regular pickup, especially with the Epic launcher being on the home screen. This means a lot of gaming, literally just for the price of the handheld and installing one application. Being Windows, stores like Ubisoft, Good Old Games, Humble and more will also work, opening up so many gaming options. There's also the option to emulate older home console systems, even up to PlayStation 3, meaning I can breathe new life into this collection of physical games and take them with me. You can add custom interfaces if Windows 11 Home isn't to your liking, or you want something easier to use with the Ally's input methods. It's bundled with its own version of a better UI called Armor Crate anyway. It has a microSD card slot for swift, easy and cheap-ish memory expansion, and being Windows as well means I can use a native remote play app for my PlayStation 5 rather than having to sideload Chiaki for Deck. I can use capture cards to capture content for this channel from any HDMI input, capture content natively, write scripts and emails, connect mics and webcams for video conferences and recording. Essentially, anything any other Windows PC can do, the Ally can do too, especially with an external graphics card option for a power boost as well, meaning high-end 4K Ultra gaming, 4K video editing, and even as the base console, virtual reality gaming. It's a powerful and versatile little handheld. But being a Windows device means that the Ally comes with all the pitfalls that come with that setup too. Where the Steam Deck has a beautiful and simple user interface, similar to a home console, the Ally has Windows, just like my work computer. This means for gaming, it will have a different game launcher per purchase route, and sometimes per publisher. Battle.net, Steam, Epic, Good Old Games, Ubisoft, EA, and more all have their own game launchers, and you'll need all of them installed on the Ally if you want to play these games from these services and publishers. And this holds true even if you do utilize their custom interface of Armor Crate, these launchers will still need to be installed. Windows on a teeny tiny screen and a mobile chipset like the Z1 Extreme as well can at best be finicky and at worst be unusable. This can of course be overcome by pairing a mouse and keyboard or using a custom user interface, but you do have to faff with the device to make it usable on occasion. Things like AMD's fluid motion frames can be troublesome. This is a system that increases frames via AI on AMD processors, like the one inside the ROG Ally. But as seen here in a thread from Tamo V Arangram, a great multilingual YouTuber by the way, he's struggling to get it to work days after purchase. This should be a saviour of the Ally, essentially offering a rock-steady 60 frames per second at 1080p in nearly every single game. But if you can't get it operational, it's kind of null and void. That external GPU that makes the Ally an absolute powerhouse costs a casual additional £2,239. At that cost, you may as well build a desktop gaming PC. But something about the Ally speaks to me. I think it is the multi-use option of the device. My Switch and Portal don't get a huge amount of use, whereas my phone and tablet get a lot of use, because they do far more than one thing. The Ally would primarily be a gaming device, but it could do so much more. It's portable, it's dockable, it's workable in a multitude of scenarios, and at £599 here in the UK, or £799 for the upgraded X version, it's a much more affordable gateway into both PC gaming and PC ownership. Now the Ally isn't the only device that fits that bill. There is the MSI Claw A1M2. The Claw also runs Windows 11 Home on a tiny screen. It therefore faces many of the same pros and cons as the Ally. Foibles of Windows, user interface, more routes to buy games, wider compatibility than the deck, and so on and so forth that we've just covered. What the Claw does differently to the Ally is it costs £200 more than the base Ally, and it uses an Intel chip instead of the AMD Z1 Extreme. According to universally bad reviews for this product from industry professionals, content creators, and consumers alike, this leads to worse gaming performance than competitors, worse battery life, makes better performing competitors cheaper than it, and its replacement was announced 3 months after launching. Honestly, the price point of £799 and such poor sentiment surrounding it makes me realise that the MSI Claw A1M is not a good fit for me. In fact, I don't think it's a good fit for anyone. What might be a good fit for people though, is the Lenovo Legion Go. This device has my interest immediately from the pictures alone. Those controllers on the side detach just like the Nintendo Switch. Unlike the Switch, however, those detached controllers can be used in a multitude of ways, including a mouse-like setup for superb first-person shooter performance. But just like the Switch, you have a triple threat device with handheld, docked and tabletop modes available. The screen is bigger than anything else mentioned so far at 8.8 inches diagonally, or 22.3 centimeters in real understandable terms. It has the highest resolution screen of any device so far at Quad HD, eclipsing the Claw and Ally and leaving the deck for dust. That screen also has an incredible refresh rate at 144Hz, again, outstripping every other device we've spoken about. But it is worth noting that it's only an LCD screen and not an OLED. It is again a Windows device, so the pros and cons covered when speaking about the Ally apply here. Except that, like the Ally, the Legion Go attempts to overcome that Windows 11 foible of a messy user interface on a handheld with a feature that it calls Legion Space. This is a feature where all of your games from any storefront or platform are accessible and launchable in a really clean UI. Again, you will need all of the required launchers installed on the device to use this overlay effectively. It honestly sounds like it's aiming to overcome any problem that I may have with any of the other devices. At over 800 grams when in handheld mode, however, you know, how most people would use it most of the time, your forearms are either going to give up long before your gaming session will, or the forearm workout is going to have you looking like Popeye in no time. With the same AMD Z1 Extreme chip as the Ally and Ally X as well, I do personally question how much of that Quad HD 144Hz screen will be able to be utilised. For as competent and powerful as that chip is, it often struggles to achieve 1080p and 60 frames per second on either model of the Ally, according to reports. So the Legion Go could have a screen that is hogging power with no benefit to the player. At £600, it is £1 more than the base Ally, but at that level of cost, the £1 difference is not a deal breaker. It is, however, £199 less than the Ally X. Reviews are as positive as the Ally or deck when taken in totality between professional reviewers and customer reviews, and the unique interaction methods with the detachable controllers also mean you need to buy less additional peripherals thereafter. Now, there is an absolute treasure trove of other options out there with a multitude of specifications and price points. The problem is, many of them are a touch basic and grossly under-supported. For my money, which, if we're not forgetting, is what is actually on the line here, my actual money, my paycheck from my full-time job, I want something that has already shown to have good support and a touch of longevity, more than the 3 to 6 months many of these other options are being superseded in. With that in mind, these devices mentioned and looked at today are the only ones that I am considering. So what should I buy in 2024 as a PC handheld? Immediately, the MSI Claw is out. It is terribly reviewed across the board, is expensive and performs worse than all competitors, so it's out. I'm also going to eliminate the base Ally. Reason being is that the X exists, and it is better in every way, especially things like the SD card slot, which is prone to overheating, failure and data corruption on the base model, and ergonomics. So the Ally X is in consideration rather than the base Ally. Begrudgingly, I'm personally eliminating the Legion Go from my shopping. The reports of poor connections, build quality and controls for a device that is primarily a gaming handheld disappoint me. It is worth remembering that this is a first-generation product, however, and I hope they can improve these issues for a future model that may then entice me in. So that leaves me with a choice between the Steam Deck OLED with 1TB of storage or the Asus ROG Ally X. Both expensive devices. The Steam Deck is the closest to what I already know with home consoles. One storefront, one UI, turn on and play. Dead easy. I like and appreciate that, especially as an adult gamer with a full-time job and real-world responsibilities. It's simple, it's easy, and it fits my life quite nicely. The Ally X would be a new and weird experience for me. Windows can negatively impact my game time with updates, random settings changes, and being finicky on such a small device. With Armor Crate, ROG's version of Lenovo's Legion Space, and Valve announcing native SteamOS support for the Ally models, that challenge can, however, be overcome. The Ally X would also open up many other doors for me, from multiple gaming storefronts, external graphics card boosts, better creator options, and other full Windows device benefits that I don't currently get. Personally, therefore, for the wide-ranging prospects, I am leaning towards the Ally X as my personal choice. Any of these devices, however, seem to be a great pickup, minus the MSI Claw. So if the simplicity and ease of use of the Steam Deck appeals more to you, that is the better buy. If the unique interactivity of the Legion Go whets your appetite, that is the right choice for you. If the price point of the base Ally and its price-to-performance ratio suits your needs, then that is the best buy. Overall, from the consumer research that I have put into this video, I think it is difficult to go wrong with either the Deck, Ally, or Go. It is merely a matter of what suits you best. So let me know your choices in the comments, and maybe drop a sub and like whilst you're there. This video was produced after extensive consumer research into each device mentioned within this video. No hands-on experiences were had to influence the decision. Neither Valve, Asus, MSI, nor Lenovo know that this video is being made. They have no copy approval or early preview of its contents. If they do see it, they will see it for the first time right alongside you. I would like to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you've liked this video, I think these will also be of interest to you. In the meantime, my name is Doragon. You can find me on threads at Doragon86 or in the Discord in the description. And until next time, folks, have yourselves a fantastic day and take care.